I installed a nanny cam in my living room because I thought my wife was cheating on me. What I discovered instead was so much worse. So impossibly worse that even now, 3 months later, I still wake up in cold sweats, replaying that footage in my mind. Because the woman I saw on that camera, the woman I'd been married to for 7 years, wasn't the person I thought she was at all. She wasn't even the person he thought she was. And by the time I figured out the truth, 3 people were dead, my daughter was traumatized, and I was standing in our kitchen holding evidence of crimes I never imagined possible. Before I tell you how a simple nanny cam unraveled the darkest secret I've ever encountered, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for Story Matrix Hub. Because this story has more twists than you can imagine, and every single thing I'm about to tell you actually happened. I promise you, you've never heard anything like this. Now let me take you back to 6 months ago, when I still thought I had a perfect life. My name is Daniel Cooper, and 6 months ago, I had everything a man could want. A beautiful wife, Sarah. A 4-year-old daughter, Emma. A nice house in the suburbs of Portland, Oregon. A good job as a software engineer. Sunday barbecues, family game nights, annual vacations to Disneyland. We were that family. The one other couples envied. The one that made it look easy. Sarah was a stay-at-home mom. She'd been a teacher before Emma was born, but we'd agreed she'd stay home until Emma started school. She was amazing at it, patient, creative, loving. Our house was always clean, Emma was always happy, dinner was always ready when I got home. Perfect. That's what I thought we were. But perfection, I've learned, is just a mask we wear until someone looks close enough to see the cracks. It started small. Little things that didn't quite add up. Like the phone calls. Sarah would get a call, glance at the screen, and suddenly need to go to another room to answer. "It's my sister," she'd say. Or, "It's about Emma's preschool." But I'd talked to her sister recently. She'd mentioned not hearing from Sarah in weeks. Then there were the errands. Sarah started having more errands. Target, the grocery store, the bank. She'd be gone for 2-3 hours at a time. For groceries. Traffic was terrible, she'd explain. Or, I ran into a friend and we got coffee. When I asked who, she'd pause just a second too long before naming someone. The real alarm bell was her phone. Sarah had never been possessive of her phone before. It was usually just lying around wherever she'd left it. But suddenly, she was taking it everywhere. To the bathroom. To the kitchen when she made coffee. To bed, where she'd keep it face down on the nightstand. And she'd changed her passcode. I knew because I'd tried to unlock it once when mine was dead, and I needed to check something. The old code didn't work. When I asked about it, she laughed. Oh, Emma kept getting into it and accidentally calling people. I had to change it. Reasonable explanation. But something in my gut said it was a lie. Then there was the biggest thing. Our sex life had completely died. We'd always been good in that department. Not crazy passionate, but consistent, connected. But in the past 3 months, she'd turned me down every single time. Too tired. Headache. Not feeling well. Just not in the mood. 3 months without sex. Without intimacy of any kind. I tried talking to her about it. Sarah, is everything okay? Between us? Of course. Why would you ask that? It's just, we haven't been close lately. And you seem distant. I'm just tired, Dan. Emma's at that exhausting age. I'm not avoiding you, I promise. But it felt like she was. I started noticing other things. She'd lost weight. Started wearing more makeup, even just around the house. Bought new clothes, stuff that was more stylish than her usual mom jeans and t-shirts. When I complimented her, she'd smile, but it never reached her eyes. One night, I got home late from work. There was a dinner meeting that ran long. I texted Sarah to let her know, but she didn't respond. When I walked in around 9 p.m., the house was quiet. Emma was asleep. Sarah was in the living room, staring at her phone, tears streaming down her face. Sarah? Baby, what's wrong? She jumped, quickly wiping her face. Nothing. You scared me. You're crying. I'm just emotional. I watched a sad video on Facebook. She wouldn't show me the video. Said she'd closed it. That night, lying in bed beside her, listening to her breathe, I made a decision that would change everything. I was going to install a nanny cam. I know how it sounds. I know it's a violation of privacy, a betrayal of trust. But something was wrong, and she wouldn't talk to me about it, and I was going crazy with suspicion. I convinced myself I was protecting my family. If she was cheating, I needed to know. If something else was going on, I needed to know. So the next day, I ordered a nanny cam online. One of those that looks like a regular clock. You'd never know it was a camera unless you were looking for it. It arrived 2 days later. I installed it on the bookshelf in the living room when Sarah took Emma to the park. Positioned it so it had a clear view of the couch, the front door, and part of the kitchen. Then I downloaded the app on my phone. Live feed. Motion detection. Cloud recording. I felt guilty. I felt like a spy in my own home. But I also felt like I had no choice. The first few days, nothing interesting happened. Sarah played with Emma. Watched TV. Folded laundry. Made lunch. Normal stay-at-home mom stuff. I started to feel stupid. Maybe I was paranoid. Maybe there was nothing going on. But then, on day 4, I got a motion alert at 10:07 a.m. I was in a meeting at work, so I couldn't check it immediately. But during my lunch break, I pulled up the app and watched the recording. The footage started with Sarah sitting on the couch, Emma playing with toys on the floor. Normal. Then Sarah's phone rang. She looked at the screen, and her entire body language changed. She tensed, looked around nervously, then answered. "Hi," she said, her voice quiet. "No, I can't talk long. Emma's here." A pause while she listened. I know, okay? I'm trying. It's complicated." Another pause. "Don't say that. You know how I feel. It's just he doesn't know anything. I need more time." My heart stopped. She was talking about me. "He doesn't know anything. I can't this week," she continued. "He's home more because of his project at work. Maybe next week." Pause. "I love you too. I have to go." She hung up, sat there for a moment, staring at her phone. Then she got up and went to the kitchen out of frame. I watched that clip 15 times during my lunch break. "I love you too." She'd said, "I love you too" to someone who wasn't me. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. All the air left my lungs. My hands were shaking. She was cheating. My wife was cheating on me. I wanted to drive home immediately. Confront her. Demand answers. But something stopped me. Maybe I wanted more evidence. Maybe I was a coward. Maybe I just couldn't face it yet. So I went back to work and spent the rest of the day in a fog. That night, I came home and acted normal. Kissed Sarah hello. Played with Emma. Ate dinner. Watched her clear the dishes, smiling at me like nothing was wrong. How could she smile at me like that? How could she act so normal? After Emma was in bed, we sat on the couch watching TV. Sarah was scrolling on her phone, occasionally laughing at something. I wanted to grab it from her hands. Smash it. Scream. But I just sat there. Numb. "You okay?" she asked, glancing at me. "You're quiet tonight." "Just tired. Long day. Want to go to bed early?" I almost laughed. Bed early. Like we were going to do anything but sleep. "Yeah. Sure." In bed, I lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling while Sarah slept peacefully beside me. She was cheating on me. The woman I'd loved for 7 years. The mother of my child. She was having an affair and lying to my face about it. I decided I needed more evidence. I needed to see who it was. I needed to catch her in the act. So I started checking the app obsessively. During meetings, at lunch, in the bathroom, while working at my desk. I watched hours of footage. Most of it was mundane. Sarah doing mom things, house things. Nothing suspicious. But there were more phone calls. Always when Emma was distracted or napping. Always with Sarah speaking quietly, nervously. And then, 2 weeks after I installed the camera, I saw something that changed everything. It was a Wednesday. I had a full day of meetings and didn't check the app until 4 p.m. There were 7 motion alerts. Unusual. I started watching. The first 6 were normal. Sarah and Emma doing puzzles. Having lunch. Emma napping. But the 7th alert, at 2:47 p.m., made my blood run cold. The footage showed Sarah sitting on the couch alone. Emma was presumably still napping. Sarah was holding something. I couldn't make it out at first. Then she lifted it and I saw. It was a knife. A large kitchen knife. She was just sitting there, staring at this knife, turning it slowly in her hands. Her expression was blank. Empty. Like she was in a trance. She sat like that for 3 full minutes. Just holding the knife. Staring at it. Then suddenly she stood up. Walked toward the kitchen, out of frame. 30 seconds later, she walked back into frame without the knife. Sat back down on the couch. Picked up her phone and started scrolling like nothing had happened. I watched that clip over and over, my mind racing. What the hell was that? Why was she holding a knife like that? Why did she look so empty? I tried to rationalize it. Maybe she was thinking about what to make for dinner. Maybe she was examining it because it was dull and needed sharpening. But I knew those were excuses. The look on her face wasn't someone thinking about dinner. That night, I got home and everything seemed normal again. Sarah cheerful, dinner ready, Emma excited to show me a drawing she'd made. But I kept glancing at the knife block in the kitchen, wondering which knife it had been. After Emma went to bed, I tried to bring it up casually. How was your day? Good. Emma and I went to the park, did some painting. Normal stuff. Just a quiet day at home? Yep. The usual. She was lying. Or at least omitting. She didn't mention sitting on the couch holding a knife for 3 minutes. Over the next week, I saw more strange things on the camera. Sarah talking to herself. Full conversations with someone who wasn't there. Sarah standing in the middle of the living room, perfectly still, for 10 minutes straight. Sarah crying uncontrollably while Emma played in the other room. And the knife thing happened again. Twice more. Just sitting there, holding a knife, staring at it with that blank expression. I was terrified. This wasn't cheating. This was something else. Something worse. Was my wife having a mental breakdown? Was she dangerous? Was Emma safe? I started coming home early, making excuses. Meeting got cancelled. Finished my work early. Each time, Sarah seemed normal. Happy to see me. Nothing strange. It was like she was two different people. The Sarah I knew and someone else. Someone I saw on camera, but never in person. Then, 3 weeks after I installed the camera, everything came to a head. I was at work when I got a motion alert at 11:23 a.m. I pulled up the live feed. Sarah was on the couch. But she wasn't alone. There was a man standing in front of her. I couldn't see his face, his back was to the camera, but he was gesturing animatedly. Angry. Sarah was crying, shaking her head. I turned up the volume on my phone, pressing it close to my ear. Can't keep doing this, Sarah, the man was saying. You have to tell him. I can't. Sarah sobbed. He'll leave me. He'll take Emma. He's going to find out eventually. And when he does, it'll be so much worse. I know. I just need more time. You've been saying that for months. This is insane. Please, Sarah begged. Please, just give me a little more time. I'll figure it out. I promise. The man ran his hands through his hair, frustrated. Then he turned slightly, and I caught a glimpse of his face. My blood turned to ice. I knew him. It was Marcus. Sarah's brother. Why was Sarah's brother in my house, yelling at her about telling me something? What secret were they keeping? Marcus sat down next to Sarah, his voice softer now. Sarah, I'm worried about you. This isn't healthy. You need to tell Daniel everything. About Mom, about the diagnosis, about all of it. Diagnosis? What diagnosis? I can't, Sarah whispered. If he knows, everything will change. He'll look at me differently. Emma will grow up knowing her mom is. She trailed off, sobbing harder. Marcus pulled her into a hug. You're not your mother. You know that, right? Just because you have the same genes doesn't mean you'll end up the same way. Same genes. The same way. What were they talking about? But what if I do? Sarah said through tears. What if I hurt someone? What if I hurt Emma? What if I'm already losing it and I don't even realize? My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. That's why you need help, Marcus said firmly. That's why you need to tell Daniel. You can't do this alone. I'm so scared, Sarah whispered. I know. But keeping secrets is making it worse. Trust me. They talked for another 10 minutes, but I couldn't focus. My mind was reeling. Diagnosis. Genes. Her mother. Losing it. Hurting someone. What the hell was going on? I thought Sarah's mother had died of cancer when Sarah was a teenager. That's what she'd always told me. But now, listening to this conversation, I realized I'd never asked for details. I'd never pushed when Sarah changed the subject. I left work immediately. Told my boss I had a family emergency. I drove home in a daze, trying to piece together what I'd heard. When I walked in, Sarah was alone. Marcus was gone. She was in the kitchen, starting dinner prep. Dan, you're home early. Yeah, slow day. Where's Emma? At Melissa's house for a playdate. I'm picking her up at 4. Okay. Sarah, we need to talk. Her face went pale. About what? About whatever you've been keeping from me. I don't know what you mean. Sarah, please. Don't lie to me. I know something's going on. I know you've been hiding something. Just please. Tell me the truth. She stared at me for a long moment, tears welling in her eyes. Then she collapsed into a chair and started sobbing. I'm so sorry, she choked out. I'm so sorry. I never wanted you to find out like this. Find out what? She looked up at me, and the expression on her face was pure terror. Dan, my mother didn't die of cancer. She died in a psychiatric hospital. She was schizophrenic. Paranoid schizophrenic. And it runs in my family. The world tilted. What? 6 months ago, I started having symptoms. Hearing things. Seeing things. Losing time. I went to a psychiatrist and they ran tests. I have the same genetic markers as my mother. I'm developing schizophrenia. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. The phone calls you've probably noticed, those were my doctor. My therapist. Marcus. I've been in treatment for 6 months, and I didn't tell you because I was terrified you'd leave me. That you'd think I was crazy. That you'd take Emma away. Sarah. I'm on medication. It's helping. But I'm so scared, Dan. I'm scared of becoming like my mother. She hurt people. She hurt my father. She tried to hurt me and Marcus. That's why we were taken away. That's why she ended up in the hospital. And I'm terrified that I'll hurt you. That I'll hurt Emma. She was sobbing uncontrollably now. I stood there, frozen, trying to process what she'd just told me. My wife had schizophrenia. She'd been hiding it for 6 months. All the strange behavior, the phone calls, the secrecy, the distance, it was because she was sick and scared. Not cheating. Sick. I should have felt relief. But all I felt was horror. Because I'd installed a camera to spy on her. Because I'd been watching her most vulnerable moments without her knowledge. Because I'd violated her privacy in the worst way possible. And because deep down I realized I didn't know if I was strong enough to handle this. I did the only thing I could do in that moment. I held her. I wrapped my arms around Sarah and held her while she cried, even though my mind was racing with 1,000 questions, 1,000 fears. I'm sorry, she kept saying. I'm so sorry. Hey, look at me. I tilted her face up. We're going to figure this out, okay? Together. You're not leaving me? No, I'm not leaving you. You're sick. That's not your fault. She cried harder, relief and fear mixing together. We sat at the kitchen table, and she told me everything. It started 6 months ago. She began hearing whispers when no one was around, seeing shadows move in her peripheral vision, feeling like someone was watching her, even when she was alone. At first, she thought it was stress, lack of sleep, normal mom exhaustion. But then it got worse. She'd lose chunks of time. She'd find herself in rooms with no memory of walking there. She'd have conversations with people who, when she really looked, weren't actually there. That's when I knew, she said. I knew it was happening to me. The same thing that happened to my mom. Why didn't you tell me? Because I was terrified. My mom destroyed our family, Dan. She became violent. Paranoid. She thought my dad was trying to poison her. She thought Marcus and I were demons. She tried to stab my father with a kitchen knife. That's when they took us away. The knife. That explained the footage of her holding the knife, staring at it. You were afraid you'd hurt me? I'm afraid I'll hurt Emma. Fresh tears. What if I have an episode and I don't recognize her? What if I think she's something else, something dangerous? What if I become my mother? Sarah, you're getting treatment. You're on medication. That's already different. But what if it's not enough? Schizophrenia doesn't have a cure, Dan. It can be managed, but it's progressive. Over time, it could get worse. I could end up in a hospital like my mom. I could. Stop. We're not going to think worst-case scenario. Tell me about your treatment. What have the doctors said? She took a shaky breath and explained. She'd been seeing a psychiatrist, Dr. Amanda Reeves, twice a week. She was on antipsychotic medication, risperidone, which was helping reduce the hallucinations. She was in therapy learning to distinguish between what was real and what wasn't. It's working mostly, she said. The medication makes me tired, which is why I've been going to bed so early. And sometimes it makes me feel disconnected. Like I'm underwater. But it's better than the alternative. The phone calls I've noticed, those were your doctor? Yes. And Marcus. He's the only one in my family who knows. Our father passed away 5 years ago, and my other siblings, they don't understand mental illness. They think it's a weakness. But Marcus has been incredible. He checks on me every day. Helps me keep track of my medication. Makes sure I'm okay. I felt a wave of guilt. I'd been so convinced she was cheating, so focused on my suspicions, that I'd missed what was really happening. My wife was suffering, and I'd been too blind to see it. I should have told you, Sarah continued. I know I should have. But I was so scared you'd look at me differently. That you'd stop trusting me with Emma. That you'd think I was crazy. I don't think you're crazy. You're sick. There's a difference. Is there? Because sometimes I can't tell what's real anymore. Sometimes I look at you and Emma, and I'm terrified that you're not real. That I'm imagining you. That I'm alone and this whole life is just in my head. My heart broke for her. You're not imagining us. We're real. I'm real. Promise me something, she said, gripping my hand. Promise me that if I get worse, if I become dangerous, you'll make sure Emma is safe. Even if that means taking her away from me. Sarah, promise me, Dan. I need to know she'll be protected. Even from me. I promise, I said, even though the words felt like glass in my throat. That night, after Emma was home and in bed, Sarah and I stayed up late talking. She told me more about her mother, about the decline, about how terrifying it had been to watch someone she loved disappear into psychosis. She used to be normal, Sarah said. Loving. Then, when I was 12, she started changing. Getting paranoid. Accusing my dad of affairs he wasn't having. Thinking the neighbors were spying on us. It took 2 years before she completely broke. 2 years of watching her slip away. How old were you when they took you away? 14. Marcus was 16. We went into foster care for a few months while Dad got back on his feet. Then we lived with him until we aged out. But it was never the same. He was broken. We were broken. And Mom, she spent the last 8 years of her life in and out of institutions before she died. How did she die? Suicide. She hanged herself in the hospital bathroom. Sarah said it flatly, like she'd told the story too many times for it to hurt anymore. But I could see the pain in her eyes. I'm so sorry. That's why I'm terrified. Because I know how this ends. I've seen how this ends. And I don't want that for Emma. I don't want her to watch me disappear the way I watched my mom disappear. That's not going to happen. You're getting help. You're fighting this. But what if fighting isn't enough? I didn't have an answer to that. The next day, I took a personal day from work. Sarah had an appointment with Dr. Reeves, and I wanted to go with her. Dr. Reeves was in her 50s, with short gray hair and a calm, reassuring presence. Her office was in a medical building downtown, decorated with soft colors and comfortable chairs. You must be Daniel, she said, shaking my hand. Sarah's told me a lot about you. She's told me nothing about you until yesterday, I admitted. I understand. Disclosing a mental health diagnosis is incredibly difficult. I'm glad Sarah felt ready to share this with you. We sat down, and Dr. Reeves explained Sarah's condition in more detail. Schizophrenia typically manifests in late teens to early 20s, but late-onset cases in the 30s aren't uncommon, especially in women. Sarah's symptoms began about 7 months ago: auditory hallucinations, visual disturbances, paranoid thinking, dissociative episodes. Dissociative episodes? Losing time. Feeling disconnected from reality. It's common in schizophrenia, especially during periods of high stress. Is she dangerous? Sarah flinched at the question, but Dr. Reeves answered calmly. Statistically, people with schizophrenia are more likely to be victims of violence than perpetrators. However, in cases where paranoia is severe and untreated, there is a small risk of aggressive behavior. But Sarah is being treated. She's on medication, she's in therapy, and she has a strong support system. The risk is minimal. Minimal isn't zero. No. But neither is the risk that anyone could become violent under extreme circumstances. What Sarah needs is understanding, support, and vigilance. If her symptoms worsen, we adjust treatment. Crisis, we have protocols. But I don't believe she's a danger to herself or others right now. Right now? Yes. Mental illness is dynamic. It requires ongoing management. But with proper treatment, many people with schizophrenia live full, productive lives. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But I couldn't stop thinking about Sarah's mother. About the knife. About the blank look in Sarah's eyes on the footage. After the appointment, Sarah and I got lunch. She seemed lighter, almost relieved. Thank you for coming with me, she said. It means a lot. I'm sorry I didn't know sooner. I should have noticed something was wrong. I hid it well. That was the point. No more hiding, okay? From now on, we're honest with each other. About everything. Okay. But even as she agreed, I felt a twist of guilt in my stomach. Because I was still hiding something. The nanny cam. I hadn't told her about it. I knew I should. Honesty, right? But how could I explain that I'd been spying on her? That I'd watched her most vulnerable moments without her knowledge? I told myself I'd remove the camera. Just take it down, delete the app, pretend it never happened. But I didn't. because part of me, a dark, paranoid part, wanted to keep watching. To make sure she was okay. To make sure Emma was safe. Or maybe I just couldn't let go of the control. Over the next few weeks, things seemed better. Sarah was more open with me. She'd tell me when she was having a bad day, when the hallucinations were stronger, when she needed space. We developed a system. If she said she was hearing the static, that meant auditory hallucinations. If she said she was seeing shadows, visual hallucinations. If she said she was feeling fuzzy, dissociation. Emma didn't know anything was wrong. To her, mommy was just mommy. Tired sometimes, but still loving, still present. But I kept checking the camera. I told myself it was for safety. Just to make sure. And for a while the footage was normal. Sarah playing with Emma. Watching TV. Doing housework. Nothing alarming. But then, 5 weeks after Sarah's confession, I saw something that changed everything again. It was a Saturday morning. I was at Home Depot buying supplies for a backyard project. Sarah and Emma were home. I got a motion alert at 10:34 a.m. I pulled up the footage. Sarah was in the living room with Emma. They were building a tower with blocks. Then Sarah's phone rang. She answered it, listened for a moment, and her face went completely white. What? No. No, that's not possible. You're wrong. Pause. I don't believe you. You're lying. Emma looked up at her mother, confused. Don't call here again, Sarah said, her voice shaking. She hung up. Then she just stood there, staring at nothing. Mommy. Emma tugged her sleeve. Mommy, are you okay? Sarah didn't respond. She was frozen, eyes wide, mouth slightly open. Mommy. Suddenly, Sarah's whole body jerked. She blinked, looked around confused, then down at Emma. Sorry, baby. Mommy just needs a minute. Can you play by yourself for a little bit? Okay. Sarah walked to the kitchen, out of view. I heard a crash. Then another. Emma jumped, startled. Mommy. I could hear Sarah in the kitchen, breathing heavily. Then a loud sob. Emma started walking toward the kitchen. Mommy, what's wrong? Don't come in here. Sarah's voice was sharp, panicked. Stay in the living room. Emma stopped, lower lip trembling. She looked scared. Then Sarah appeared in the doorway. Her hands were shaking. There was something in her eyes I'd never seen before. Pure terror. Emma, baby, I need you to do something for me, okay? I need you to go to your room and close the door. Can you do that? Why? Because Mommy asked. Please, Emma. Go to your room. Right now. Emma started crying. I don't want to. You're scaring me. I know, baby, I'm sorry. But please. Please just go to your room and close the door and don't come out until I say, okay? Emma ran to her room, crying. Sarah stood in the living room, alone, hyperventilating. Then she started talking. But not to herself. To someone. No. You're not real. You're not real. Dr. Reeves said you're not real. She was looking at something, someone, that I couldn't see on the camera. Get away from me. I know you're not real. She backed up, eyes wide, hands out like she was warding something off. Please. Please leave me alone. She was having a full psychotic break. Right there in our living room. I was 10 minutes from home. I ran to my car, forgot the stuff I was buying, and drove like hell. The whole way, I watched the live feed on my phone at red lights. Sarah was pacing now, still talking to something invisible. Sometimes pleading. Sometimes angry. You can't hurt her. I won't let you hurt her. Hurt who? Emma? I called Sarah's phone. It rang and rang. She didn't answer. I called Marcus. Marcus, something's wrong with Sarah. I'm on my way home, but I think she's having an episode. Can you get there? I'm 20 minutes out. What's happening? I don't know. She got a phone call, and now she's hallucinating or something. Emma's there. Shit. Okay, I'm leaving now. Call 911 if you need to. I hung up and drove faster. When I got home 8 minutes later, I burst through the door. The living room was empty. Sarah? Emma? Daddy? Emma came running out of her room. Mommy's acting weird. I picked her up. It's okay, baby. Where's Mommy? In her room. She told me to stay in my room and not come out, but I heard you. I carried Emma back to her room. Stay here for just a few more minutes, okay? Daddy needs to check on Mommy. Is she sick? Yeah, baby. She's sick. But she's going to be okay. I closed Emma's door and went to our bedroom. Sarah was sitting on the floor, back against the bed, knees pulled up to her chest. She was rocking slightly, murmuring to herself. Sarah? She looked up at me and I saw it. The absence of recognition. She didn't know who I was. Who are you? She whispered. Are you real? Sarah, it's me. It's Dan. Your husband. You're lying. You're one of them. You're trying to trick me. No, baby. It's really me. Look at me. It's Dan. She shook her head frantically. No, no, no. You're not real. None of this is real. I'm in the hospital. I'm in the hospital, and this is all in my head. My heart was racing. Sarah, you're not in a hospital. You're home. With me and Emma. Emma, she breathed. Where's Emma? Is she safe? Did they take her? She's safe. She's in her room. Sarah, I need you to focus on me. Can you hear my voice? I hear lots of voices. I don't know which ones are real. Mine is real. I promise you I'm real. Can you touch me? Can you feel my hand? I reached out slowly, carefully. She flinched but let me take her hand. See? I'm real. You can feel me. She gripped my hand tight, her eyes focusing slightly. Dan. Yes. It's me. I don't know what's happening. Someone called me. They said they were from Children's Services. They said they were taking Emma because I'm unfit. Because I'm like my mother. And then I saw things. People in the house. They were saying terrible things. There's no one here. Just you and me. And no one's taking Emma. Are you sure? I'm sure. But Sarah, I think we need to call Dr. Reeves. This is a bad episode. I took my medication this morning. I did. I took it. I know. Sometimes the medication needs adjustment. It's okay. Marcus arrived 10 minutes later. Together, we got Sarah calm enough to sit on the couch while I called Dr. Reeves' emergency line. She called back within minutes. Daniel, what's happening? I explained everything. The phone call, the hallucinations, Sarah's inability to recognize me. This is a psychotic episode, Dr. Reeves said. It can happen even with medication, especially if there's been a trigger. The phone call you mentioned, that was likely a hallucination itself. No one actually called, but I saw her answer the phone. Schizophrenia can make people respond to hallucinated stimuli. She may have thought she heard a phone ring, picked up her phone, and had an entire imagined conversation. So what do we do? I need to see her. Can you bring her to the ER at Providence Hospital? I have privileges there. We may need to adjust her medication, or possibly do a short inpatient stay to stabilize her. My stomach dropped. Inpatient? Like a psychiatric hospital? Possibly. For her safety and your daughter's. Sarah was watching me from the couch, tears streaming. She knew what was being said. Okay, we'll be there in 20 minutes. Marcus stayed with Emma while I took Sarah to the hospital. In the car, she was quiet, distant. I'm going to end up like my mother, she said softly. In a hospital. For the rest of my life. No. This is temporary. Just to adjust your medication. You should leave me. Take Emma and leave me. She shouldn't have to grow up with a crazy mother. You're not crazy. You're sick. And I'm not leaving you. But even as I said it, a dark thought crept into my mind. What if this never gets better? What if this is our life now? What if Emma grows up traumatized? What if Sarah gets worse? Could I really handle this? At the hospital, Dr. Reeves met us in the ER. She evaluated Sarah, asked questions, did some tests. I want to keep her for 72 hours, she told me privately. Her current medication isn't effective enough. We need to try a different antipsychotic, and I want her monitored while we make the switch. Will she be okay here? She'll be in our psychiatric unit. It's safe, comfortable. But I won't lie to you, it's a hospital. It can be frightening for patients. But it's necessary. I went back to Sarah. She was in a hospital bed, looking small and scared. They're keeping me, aren't they? Just for a few days. To adjust your medication. I don't want to stay here. I know. But it's just temporary. What are you going to tell Emma? I'll tell her mommy's sick, and the doctors are helping her feel better. Sarah started crying. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you have to deal with this. Hey. In sickness and in health, remember? We said those words. I meant them. Did you? She looked at me with such vulnerable hope. Because I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. I meant them, I said. And I did. I really did. But that night, lying in bed alone, I checked the nanny cam footage from earlier. I watched Sarah's psychotic break over and over. Watched her talk to invisible people. Watched her forget who I was. Watched her terrify our daughter. And I wondered, how much of this can I take? How much can Emma take? What if Sarah never gets better? What if she gets worse? What if Dr. Reeves is wrong and Sarah is dangerous? I went to Emma's room and watched her sleep. So innocent. so oblivious to the nightmare unfolding around her. I had to protect her, no matter what, even if that meant protecting her from her own mother. The 72 hours Sarah spent in the psychiatric unit were the longest 3 days of my life. I visited her twice a day. Emma came once. I didn't want to bring her more than that. Hospital psychiatric units aren't places for 4-year-olds. Sarah was different there. Quieter. More medicated. The new antipsychotic they'd put her on made her drowsy and slow. It takes a few weeks to adjust, Dr. Reeves explained. The sedation will decrease. But we needed something stronger to control the acute symptoms. Is she going to be like this permanently? No. We're starting at a higher dose, then we'll taper down once she's stable. The goal is to find the minimum effective dose. On the 3rd day, Sarah came home. She seemed fragile. Breakable. She hugged Emma like she'd been gone for years. I missed you so much, baby. I missed you too, Mommy. Are you all better? I'm getting better. It takes time. That night, after Emma was asleep, Sarah and I talked. I'm sorry you had to see me like that, she said. You don't have to apologize. Yes, I do. I scared you. I scared Emma. I know I did. You were having an episode. It wasn't your fault. But it will happen again, won't it? Dr. Reeves said the medication should help, but there's no guarantee. I could have another episode. I could have 10 more episodes. This is my life now. Then we'll handle it. Together. She looked at me with such desperate hope. You really mean that? Yes. But that night, alone in bed while Sarah slept off her medication, I did something I'm not proud of. I checked the nanny cam footage from while Sarah was in the hospital. There was nothing to see, just an empty living room, Emma playing by herself, Marcus coming over to watch her a few times. But I realized something. I'd become addicted to watching, to knowing, to having that secret window into what was happening in my house when I wasn't there. I knew it was wrong. I knew I should take the camera down. But I couldn't. Because what if Sarah had another episode? What if something happened and I wasn't there? What if Emma was in danger? I rationalized it as protection, as vigilance, as responsible parenting. But deep down, I knew the truth. I didn't trust my wife anymore. The schizophrenia diagnosis had broken something fundamental between us. I couldn't stop seeing her as a threat. Over the next few weeks, Sarah seemed to stabilize. The new medication was working. She had fewer hallucinations, fewer dissociative episodes. She was more herself again. But she was also different. Slower. More tired. Less vibrant. It's like someone turned down my brightness, she told me one night. Everything feels muted. Dull. I'm grateful I'm not hallucinating anymore, but I miss feeling alive. Maybe Dr. Reeves can adjust the dose. She said we have to give it more time. 6 weeks minimum before we make changes. I kept checking the camera obsessively. During meetings. At lunch. Before bed. In the bathroom. I saw Sarah being a normal mom. Playing with Emma. Doing laundry. Making dinner. I saw her staring into space sometimes. Sitting very still, like she was listening to something. I saw her talking on the phone with Dr. Reeves, with Marcus, managing her illness. Everything seemed okay. Until it wasn't. 6 weeks after Sarah came home from the hospital, I saw something on the camera that made my blood run cold. It was a Tuesday. I was at work. I got a motion alert at 2:17 p.m. I pulled up the footage. Sarah was on the couch. Emma was at a playdate. Sarah was alone. And she was holding my laptop. My laptop that should have been in my locked office. I watched as she opened it. The screen was angled away from the camera, so I couldn't see what she was looking at. But I saw her face. Confusion. Then shock. Then horror. She was looking at something that devastated her. Then she started scrolling. Clicking. Her hand over her mouth. It took me a second to realize what she must have found. The Nanny Cam app. I'd installed it on my laptop too, for easier viewing. And I'd been careless, I'd left it logged in. She was watching the footage. Watching herself. Realizing I'd been spying on her. I watched her close the laptop. Sit there, perfectly still. Then she started crying. Deep, body-shaking sobs. She picked up her phone and called someone. Marcus, probably. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but I saw her mouth moving. Saw her wiping tears. Saw her angry gestures. Then she hung up. Stood up. Walked to the bookshelf. She looked right at the camera. She knew. She knew exactly where it was. She reached up and grabbed it. Her face filled the screen, tears streaming. How could you? She mouthed. Then the feed went black. She'd unplugged it. My heart was racing. I felt sick. I'd violated her privacy in the worst way possible. I'd been watching her most vulnerable moments. And now she knew. I left work immediately and drove home. When I walked in, Sarah was sitting on the couch. The nanny cam was on the coffee table. Emma was still at her playdate. Sarah, don't. Her voice was ice. Don't you dare try to explain this. I can explain. You've been spying on me? For how long? Since before I knew. Since you thought I was cheating? Her laugh was bitter. I wondered how you figured out something was wrong. I thought maybe you'd noticed my symptoms. But no. You installed a camera. You watched me. Without my knowledge. Without my consent. I'm sorry. Sorry. You watched me having psychotic episodes. You watched me at my most vulnerable. You watched me, her voice broke. You violated me, Dan. You violated my privacy, my trust, everything. I was trying to protect Emma. Bullshit. You installed this before you knew I was sick. You installed it because you didn't trust me. And even after I told you the truth, you kept it. You kept watching me like I'm some kind of animal in a cage. She was right. About all of it. I'm sorry, I said, and I meant it. I'm so sorry. Do you have any idea what it's like to realize your husband has been spying on you? To know that he's been watching you fall apart, watching you struggle, and he never said anything. I didn't know how to bring it up. You could have just asked me. You could have said, Sarah, what's going on? Instead, you set up surveillance like I'm a criminal. You weren't telling me the truth. Because I was scared. Because I was sick. And instead of being patient, instead of trying to understand, you spied on me. We were both yelling now. I'm not the villain here. I shouted. You hid your diagnosis for months. You lied to me every single day. I was protecting myself. And I was protecting Emma. From what? From me? Her face crumpled. You think I'm dangerous. You've thought that this whole time. That's why you kept the camera. You wanted to catch me doing something crazy, so you could justify leaving me. That's not true. Isn't it? Be honest, Dan. You don't trust me. You look at me and you see your wife, but you also see a threat. You're waiting for me to snap. To hurt Emma. To become my mother. I wanted to deny it. But I couldn't. Because she was right. I'm terrified, I admitted. Every single day, I'm terrified that something will happen. That you'll have an episode and Emma will be there. That you'll hurt her. That I'll come home and find. I couldn't finish. Sarah was crying now. So that's it. You don't trust me with our daughter. I want to trust you. I'm trying. But you can't. Because deep down, you think I'm going to hurt her. And maybe you're right. Maybe. I will. Maybe one day I'll have an episode, and I'll see her as something else and Don't say that. Why not? It's what you're thinking. We stared at each other across the living room. My wife. The woman I loved. The mother of my child. And a stranger. Someone I didn't know how to trust anymore. I can't do this, Sarah said quietly. I can't live in a house where my husband is watching me, waiting for me to fail. I can't raise my daughter knowing her father sees me as a threat. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe we need some space. Maybe I should stay with Marcus for a while. Give you time to figure out if you can really handle this. Sarah, no. I have schizophrenia, Dan. That's not going away. I'm going to have this illness for the rest of my life. If you can't trust me now, you never will. I want to trust you. Then prove it. Remove all the cameras. Stop watching me. Treat me like your wife, not like a suspect. There are no other cameras. Don't lie to me. Her voice was steel. I found the app. I saw the viewing history. You've been watching constantly. At work, at lunch, at night. You're obsessed. She was right. I was obsessed. I'll delete the app, I said. Right now. I pulled out my phone and deleted it in front of her. There. It's gone. And the recordings? I'll delete those too. Do it now. I logged into the cloud service and deleted everything. Months of footage gone. Happy? No. Because I know you did it out of fear, not trust. You deleted it because you got caught, not because you realized it was wrong. She picked up the camera from the coffee table and dropped it in the trash. Marcus is coming to get me. I'm staying with him for a few days. You can explain to Emma why Mommy's not here. Sarah, please. I need space, Dan. I need to figure out if I can stay in a marriage where my husband thinks I'm a monster. I don't think you're a monster. Yes, you do. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you're fighting it. But you do. I can see it in your eyes. Every time you look at me, there's a tiny flinch. A tiny moment of fear. And I can't live with that. Marcus arrived 15 minutes later. He helped Sarah pack a bag, gave me a look that could kill, and drove away with her. I stood in my empty house and realized what I'd done. I'd pushed away my wife when she needed me most. I'd violated her trust in the worst way possible. And now I was alone with a 4-year-old who was about to ask where Mommy went. "Where's Mommy?" Emma asked the question the next morning at breakfast. She'd gone to bed before Sarah left, so this was the first she was noticing. "Mommy's staying with Uncle Marcus for a few days." "Why?" "Because Mommy and Daddy need a little break." "Are you getting divorced?" My heart stopped. "What? No. Where did you hear that word?" "Madison's parents got divorced. Madison said they needed a break first. Then they got divorced and now Madison has 2 houses. Mommy and I aren't getting divorced. We just need some time to work through some things." "What things?" "How do you explain marital problems to a 4-year-old? Grown-up things. But we both love you very much. That's never going to change." Emma looked at me with those big, worried eyes. "Is Mommy sick because of me?" "What? No. Why would you think that?" "Because she got weird after I asked her to play, and she said she was too tired. And then she went to the hospital." "Did I make her sick?" I pulled Emma into a hug. "No, baby. Mommy's sickness has nothing to do with you. She has an illness in her brain, but it's not because of anything you did. And she's taking medicine to help her get better." "Will she come home?" "Yes. I promise." But even as I said it, I wasn't sure. I called Sarah that afternoon. Marcus answered. "She doesn't want to talk to you." "Marcus, please. I just want to know she's okay." "She's devastated, Dan." "What you did? I can't even wrap my head around it." "You spied on her. Your own wife." "I know. I fucked up. I know. But I want to fix this." "I don't think you can fix betrayal like that." "Can I at least see her? Talk to her in person?" "She said she needs a week. At least. She's talking to Dr. Reeves every day. She needs to process this." "What about Emma?" "She's asking questions I don't know how to answer." "Then figure it out. That's your job as a parent." He hung up. I felt like my life was imploding. I couldn't focus at work. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't think about anything except Sarah's face when she found the camera. That night, after Emma was in bed, I called Dr. Reeves. I knew it was Sarah's therapist, but I was desperate. "Dr. Reeves, it's Daniel Cooper. I know you can't share Sarah's private information, but I need advice. My wife left because of something I did, and I don't know how to fix it. I can't discuss Sarah's treatment with you without her permission. I'm not asking about her treatment. I'm asking how I can repair the damage I caused." There was a long pause. "Daniel, I can speak generally. Rebuilding trust after a betrayal requires time, transparency, and genuine change. But it also requires the offended party to believe that change is possible. If Sarah doesn't believe you can truly trust her again, then no amount of apologies will matter." "So you're saying there's no hope?" "I'm saying hope isn't enough. You need to demonstrate, through actions, not words, that you see her as your partner, not as a threat." "How do I do that?" "That's something you need to figure out yourself. But I'll tell you this, your fear is understandable. Schizophrenia is scary. But if you can't move past that fear, you'll never have a real marriage. You'll have a caretaker-patient relationship. And Sarah deserves more than that." She was right. Over the next few days, I did a lot of thinking. A lot of soul-searching. Was I capable of truly trusting Sarah? Could I look at her and see my wife, not her illness? I wasn't sure. But I knew I had to try. A week after Sarah left, she finally agreed to meet me. Coffee shop, neutral territory. Marcus brought her. She looked tired. Sad. But also more resolute than I'd ever seen her. "Hi," I said. "Hi." We sat down. The silence was excruciating. "I'm sorry," I started. "I know I already said that, but I need you to know how deeply I mean it. What I did was inexcusable. I violated your privacy. I betrayed your trust. And I let my fear control me instead of supporting you." "Yes, you did. I don't have an excuse. I was scared. I am scared. But that doesn't justify what I did." "No, it doesn't. I want to fix this. Tell me how to fix this." She looked at me with those tired eyes. "Dan, I don't know if you can. Because the problem isn't just the camera. It's what the camera represents. You don't trust me with our daughter. And if you don't trust me, we can't be married. I want to trust you. But you don't. And I understand why. I really do. If I were you, I'd be scared too. But I can't live with someone who's constantly watching me, waiting for me to snap. I can't raise Emma in a house where her father is terrified of her mother. So what do we do?" I've been thinking about that a lot this week. And I think I need to move out. Permanently. Not divorce. Not yet. But separation. Give you time to figure out if you can handle this. Give me time to focus on my treatment without feeling like I'm being monitored. My heart sank. You want to leave? I don't want to. But I think I need to. For both of us. What about Emma? Shared custody. I'll see her on my good days. On days when I'm stable. Marcus can supervise if it makes you feel better. Sarah, that's not. It's the only way I can see this working. You get space to process your fear. Emma gets a mom who isn't under constant scrutiny. And I get to focus on managing my illness without feeling like a burden. I felt tears welling up. I don't want you to leave. I don't want to leave either. But I can't stay in a marriage where I'm not trusted. It's destroying me, Dan. Every day I wake up knowing you're watching me, judging me, waiting for me to fail. I can't live like that. I'll change. I promise. You can't promise that. Fear doesn't just disappear because you want it to. You're terrified I'm going to hurt Emma. And maybe you're right to be. Maybe I am dangerous. Maybe the medication will fail and I'll have another episode and something terrible will happen. Don't say that. Why not? It's possible. Schizophrenia isn't curable. It's manageable, but there are no guarantees. And I think you need to decide if you can live with that uncertainty. Because if you can't, then we're just prolonging the inevitable. We sat in silence for a long moment. Can I ask you something? I said quietly. Do you think you're dangerous? She thought about it. I don't know. I don't want to be. I'm doing everything I can not to be. But there's a part of me that's terrified I'll lose control. That I'll become my mother. That I'll hurt someone I love. But you haven't. Not yet. But the potential is there. And I think that's what you see when you look at me. Potential danger. She was right. That's exactly what I saw. So what now? I asked. Now you take some time. You talk to a therapist, your own therapist, not mine. You figure out if you can really be married to someone with a severe mental illness. And if you can't, we figure out how to co-parent Emma in a way that keeps her safe and keeps me sane. And if I can, if I figure out how to trust you, then maybe we try again. But Dan, I need you to be honest with yourself. Don't say you can handle this just because you think it's the right thing to do. Don't stay with me out of guilt or obligation. Stay with me because you actually trust me. Or don't stay at all. She stood up to leave. Sarah, wait. Can I see you again? Talk more? In a few weeks. I need more time. She walked out of the coffee shop, and I sat there alone, wondering if I'd just lost my wife for good. That night, I did something I should have done months ago. I called a therapist. For me. Not for Sarah. For me. Dr. Richard Chun specialized in families dealing with mental illness. He had availability the next day, so I took it. In his office, I told him everything. The suspicions, the camera, the diagnosis, the betrayal, the separation. So the question is, I finished. Am I capable of trusting my wife again? Or am I just too damaged by all of this? Dr. Chun leaned back. That's a complex question. Let me ask you something. When you think about Sarah, what do you feel? Fear. What else? Love. Guilt. Sadness. But fear is the primary emotion? Yes. And when you think about Emma being alone with Sarah, what do you feel? Terror. Why? Because what if Sarah has an episode and Emma's there? What if Sarah hallucinates that Emma is something dangerous? What if Sarah hurts her? Has Sarah ever been violent? No. Has she ever shown any indication that she might harm Emma? No. But her mother. Her mother was a different person with a different illness trajectory and different circumstances. Sarah is on medication. She's in treatment. She's being monitored. So where does this fear come from? I don't know. I think you do. I think it comes from a place deeper than Sarah's diagnosis. I think it comes from a need to control, to protect, to prevent the worst-case scenario. He was right. So how do I stop being afraid? You don't. Fear is a natural response to uncertainty. But you learn to manage it. You learn to distinguish between reasonable caution and paranoid control. And you ask yourself, am I protecting my daughter, or am I protecting myself? That hit hard. What do you mean? I mean, it's possible your fear isn't just about Emma's safety. It's about your own discomfort with uncertainty, your own inability to control the situation. You installed that camera because it gave you the illusion of control. But control is an illusion. You can't control Sarah's illness. You can only control how you respond to it. I left that session with a lot to think about. Over the next 2 weeks, I saw Dr. Chen twice more. We talked about fear, trust, and what it means to be married to someone with a chronic illness. Slowly, I started to realize something. I'd been so focused on protecting Emma that I'd forgotten to protect Sarah. To protect our marriage. To protect the woman I'd fallen in love with. I'd let fear turn me into someone I didn't recognize. Someone who spied on his wife. Someone who saw his partner as a threat. And that person wasn't who I wanted to be. 2.5 weeks after Sarah left, I called her. Can we talk? In person? Okay. Same coffee shop. Actually, I was thinking our house. I want to show you something. She agreed, hesitantly. When she arrived, I led her to the living room. I've been seeing a therapist, I started. Dr. Chun. He's been helping me work through my fear. And I've realized something. I've been treating you like an illness instead of like my wife. I've been so focused on your schizophrenia that I forgot about Sarah. The real Sarah. The woman I married. Dan, let me finish. I'm not going to stand here and promise I'll never be scared again. I probably will be. But I'm learning to manage that fear. To not let it control me. And I'm learning to see you. Really see you, not your diagnosis. I gestured to the bookshelf where the camera had been. No more cameras. No more surveillance. No more treating you like you're under investigation. From now on, if I have concerns, I talk to you. Like an adult. Like a partner. She was crying now. I don't know if we can fix this, I continued. I don't know if you can forgive me for what I did. But I want to try. I want my wife back. I want my family back. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to rebuild your trust. Sarah wiped her tears. I don't know if I can trust you again. I know. And I'll understand if you can't. But Sarah, I love you. Not in spite of your illness, but including it. All of you. And I want to prove that to you. How? By being patient. By being present. By showing you every single day that I see you as my partner, not as a threat. She looked around our living room. The home we'd built together. I want to come home, she said quietly. But I'm scared. Scared you'll go back to seeing me as dangerous. Scared you'll start watching me again. I won't. I promise. You promised before. You're right. So don't trust my words. Trust my actions. Come home. If I slip back into old patterns, you call me on it. And if I can't change, then we revisit separation. But give me a chance to prove I can be the husband you deserve. She thought for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay, I'll come home. But Dan, if you betray my trust again, I'm gone. For good. I understand. She moved back in that weekend. And for the first time in months, it felt like we might actually make it through this. But I was about to learn that some secrets have a way of destroying everything, no matter how hard you try to fix them. For 3 weeks, things were good. Better than good, actually. Sarah was stable on her medication. She had fewer symptoms, more good days than bad. We were communicating better, being honest with each other. I was seeing Dr. Chen weekly, working through my fear and learning to separate Sarah from her illness. Emma was happy. She had her mom back, her parents were getting along, life felt normal again. I'd kept my promise. No cameras. No surveillance. When I felt anxious, I talked to Sarah about it instead of secretly monitoring her. It was working. Until it wasn't. It started with a phone call from Sarah's psychiatrist. I was at work when my phone rang. Dr. Reeves. Daniel, do you have a moment? Of course. Is Sarah okay? That's what I need to discuss with you. Sarah gave me permission to call you about this. She actually requested I do so. My stomach tightened. What's wrong? Sarah's been having symptoms again. More hallucinations. More dissociative episodes. I need to adjust her medication, but there's something else I need to discuss with you. Can you come to my office today? Yes. I'll leave work now. An hour later, I was sitting in Dr. Reeves' office with Sarah beside me. She looked scared. What's going on? I asked. Dr. Reeves folded her hands. Sarah's medication has been less effective in the past week. Her symptoms are breaking through. This sometimes happens, the body builds tolerance or the illness progresses. We'll need to try a different medication. Okay, so we switch medications. It's not that simple. The issue is that Sarah is also pregnant. The world stopped. What? Sarah was crying silently. We discovered it during her blood work yesterday, Dr. Reeves continued. She's about 8 weeks along. 8 weeks. That meant she got pregnant right around when she moved back home. Okay, I said, trying to process. So what does that mean for her treatment? It means we have very limited medication options. Most antipsychotics carry risks during pregnancy. Some can cause birth defects. Some can affect fetal development. There are a few that are safer, but they're also less effective. So Sarah has to choose between managing her illness and risking the baby? Essentially, yes. I looked at Sarah. She was staring at her hands, tears streaming down her face. Sarah, why didn't you tell me? I just found out yesterday. I didn't know how to tell you. After everything we've been through, I thought you'd see this as another problem. Another risk. A baby isn't a problem. It is when the mother is schizophrenic and can't take her medication safely. Dr. Reeves interjected. There are options. We can try one of the pregnancy-safer antipsychotics, though it may not control Sarah's symptoms as well. Or, she paused. Or Sarah can terminate the pregnancy and continue her current treatment. Sarah let out a sob. I took her hand. Is that what you want? I don't know what I want. I didn't plan this. We barely survived me coming back home. And now there's a baby? A baby I might not be stable enough to carry? A baby who might inherit my illness? What do you mean, inherit? Dr. Reeves answered. Schizophrenia has a genetic component. If one parent has it, the child has approximately a 13% chance of developing it. If both parents have it, the risk is much higher. But I don't have it. No, but Sarah's family history is significant. Her mother, her maternal grandmother. There's a strong genetic link. Sarah was crying harder now. I can't pass this on to another child. I can't watch Emma or this baby grow up wondering if they'll start hearing voices one day. I can't do that to them. Sarah, maybe I should terminate. Maybe that's the right choice. Stay on my medication, stay stable, focus on being a good mom to Emma. Is that what you want? I don't know. She pulled her hand away from mine. I don't know what I want because I don't trust my own brain anymore. How do I make a decision this big when I can't even trust my own thoughts? Dr. Reeves spoke gently. This is a decision only you and Daniel can make. But I want you to know that many women with schizophrenia successfully carry pregnancies to term. It requires careful monitoring, medication adjustments, and support. It's not easy, but it's possible. What happens if she stops her medication completely? I asked. That's not advisable. Sarah's symptoms would likely worsen significantly. She could have more frequent episodes, more severe hallucinations. In extreme cases, she could become a danger to herself or others. There it was. The fear I'd been trying to manage. The thing I'd been working so hard not to focus on. If Sarah went off her medication, she could become dangerous. And now there was Emma to think about. And potentially another baby. I need time to think, Sarah said. Can we have some time? Of course. But Sarah, you're 8 weeks along. If you're considering termination, time is a factor. The earlier it's done, the safer and simpler it is. We left the office in silence. In the car, neither of us spoke for several minutes. Finally, Sarah said, I know what you're thinking. What am I thinking? You're thinking I should terminate. You're thinking I'm not stable enough to carry a baby. You're thinking about the risk to Emma if I go off my medication. I'm thinking this is your choice. Is it? Because I feel like everyone's already decided for me. Dr. Reeves with her warnings about risks. You with your fear. Even my own brain with its constant doubt. What do you want, Sarah? If there were no risks, no complications, no illness, what would you want? She was quiet for a long moment. I'd want the baby. I always wanted more kids. Emma's 4 now. I thought we might try for another one eventually. But that was before the diagnosis. Before everything fell apart. Then maybe that's your answer. But there are risks. Huge risks. What if I get worse during pregnancy? What if I have a psychotic break while I'm pregnant? What if I hurt myself? Or Emma? Or the baby? Then we manage it. We get help. We have Dr. Reeves, we have Marcus, we have support. You say that now. But you were terrified of me 3 weeks ago. You had cameras watching me because you didn't trust me with our daughter. How are you going to handle me pregnant and off my best medication? She was right. I'd made so much progress in therapy, but was I really ready for this? Could I handle Sarah getting sicker? Could I protect Emma and support Sarah at the same time? I don't know, I admitted. I don't know if I'm strong enough for this. But Sarah, I also don't want to tell you to terminate a pregnancy you want because I'm scared. That's not fair to you. Nothing about this is fair. We drove home in silence. That night, after Emma was asleep, we sat at the kitchen table. I need to tell you something, Sarah said. Something I haven't been honest about. My heart sank. What? When I was in the hospital that first time, they ran a bunch of tests. and they found something on one of my brain scans. A small abnormality. Dr. Reeves said it might explain why my schizophrenia developed later than usual. What kind of abnormality? A lesion. A tiny spot on my frontal lobe. It's not dangerous by itself, but it could be contributing to my symptoms. And if I get pregnant, if my hormones change, if I go off my current medication, it could get worse. Why didn't you tell me this before? Because I was already asking you to handle so much. I didn't want to add another scary medical thing to the pile. Sarah, we're supposed to be honest with each other now. I know, and I'm being honest now. But Dan, you need to understand, if I keep this baby, things could get really bad. The doctors can't predict how my brain will respond to pregnancy hormones combined with weaker medication. I could end up hospitalized for months. I could end up like my mother. Or you might be fine. That's a huge gamble. Life is a gamble. She looked at me with desperate eyes. Tell me what to do. Please. Just tell me what to do. I can't make this decision for you. But you can tell me what you want. What you really want. Not what you think I want to hear. What do you want? I thought about it. Really thought about it. What did I want? I want you to be safe. I want Emma to be safe. I want our family to be stable. So you want me to terminate? I want whatever keeps you healthy. If that means terminating, then yes. But Sarah, if you want this baby, if you really want it, then we'll figure it out. How? How will we figure it out? You couldn't even handle me on medication. How will you handle me getting sicker? I don't know. But I'll try. She shook her head. Trying isn't enough. I need to know you can do this. I need to know you won't resent me if things get bad. I need to know you won't install more cameras, won't treat me like I'm dangerous, won't look at me like I'm a monster. I'm working on that. But you're not there yet. I can see it in your eyes. You're still afraid of me. She was right. I was still afraid. Maybe I should just schedule the procedure, she said quietly. Get it over with. Stay on my medication. Focus on being stable for Emma. Is that what you want? No. But maybe it's what I need to do. The next few days were agonizing. Sarah scheduled an appointment at a clinic for the following week. But I could see her struggling with the decision. She barely spoke. Barely ate. Just went through the motions with Emma, hollow and distant. I called Dr. Chen for an emergency session. My wife is pregnant, I told him. And she's considering terminating because she doesn't think I can handle her getting sicker. Can you? I don't know. Daniel, this is the moment of truth. Everything we've been working on, managing your fear, trusting Sarah, seeing her as your partner, this is when you prove whether you meant it. But what if she does get dangerous? What if something happens to Emma? What if she doesn't? What if she has a perfectly manageable pregnancy and you let your fear cost you another child? So I should tell her to keep it? I'm not telling you what to do, but I am telling you that you need to be honest with yourself and with her. If you can't handle this, say so. Let her make an informed decision. But if you can handle it, if you're willing to try, then support her. That night, I sat down with Sarah. I've been thinking about the baby, I said. Dan, we don't need to talk about this. I've made my decision. Have you? Because I don't think you have. I think you're choosing what you think is safest for everyone else, not what you actually want. She didn't respond. I'm scared, I admitted. I'm terrified. Of you getting sicker. Of something happening to Emma. Of not being strong enough to handle it all. But Sarah, I'm also tired of letting fear control our lives. What are you saying? I'm saying if you want this baby, we keep it. And yes, it'll be hard. Maybe the hardest thing we've ever done. But we'll do it together. With support. With Dr. Reeves. With Marcus. With whoever else we need. You really mean that? I do. But only if you want this. Not if you're doing it for me, or for Emma, or for anyone else. If you want this baby, we fight for it. If you don't, we don't. Your choice. Sarah started crying. I want the baby. God help me, I want this baby so much. But I'm terrified I'll ruin everything. That I'll get sicker and hurt someone. That this baby will inherit my illness. That Emma will be traumatized. That you'll hate me. I could never hate you. You installed cameras to watch me. And I regret that every single day. But Sarah, I'm not that person anymore. Or I'm trying not to be. And if you give me a chance, I'll prove it. She looked at me for a long time. Okay. We keep the baby. We switch to safer medication. We get through this. Together. She canceled the clinic appointment the next day. Dr. Reeves switched her to a pregnancy-safe antipsychotic. It was less effective, just as predicted. Sarah's symptoms got worse. More hallucinations. More anxiety. More dissociation. But we managed it. We created safety plans. We had Marcus on call. We made sure Emma had a safe person she could go to if Sarah had an episode. And I kept my promise. No cameras. No surveillance. When I was scared, I talked to Sarah. I talked to Dr. Chen. I talked to Marcus. But I didn't spy. For 3 months, we made it work. And then everything fell apart in the worst way possible. It was a Saturday morning. I was at the grocery store with Emma. Sarah was home resting. She'd had a rough night with insomnia and hallucinations. My phone rang. Marcus. Dan, you need to get home. Now. What happened? Just get home. I'm calling 911. I abandoned the cart, grabbed Emma, and drove home faster than I should have. When I pulled up, there were 2 police cars and an ambulance in front of my house. Stay in the car, I told Emma. I ran inside. Marcus was in the living room, talking to police officers. There was blood on the floor. Where's Sarah? She's in the ambulance. Dan, Where is she? I ran outside. Sarah was on a stretcher, being loaded into the ambulance. Her wrists were bandaged. Blood soaked through. Sarah. She looked at me, and her eyes were empty. Completely empty. Sir, you can't. A paramedic tried to stop me. That's my wife. Are you her husband? Yes. She's attempted suicide. Self-inflicted lacerations to both wrists. We're taking her to Providence. The world tilted. Sarah had tried to kill herself. And I hadn't been there. Marcus appeared beside me. She called me 20 minutes ago. Said she couldn't do this anymore. Said the voices were telling her the baby would be better off if she was dead. I got here as fast as I could. Is she going to be okay? I don't know. She'd lost a lot of blood. I watched the ambulance pull away, sirens wailing. Then I looked at my car, where Emma was watching everything through the window. I'd promised to protect them both. And I'd failed. Sarah survived. The cuts weren't as deep as they could have been. Marcus had gotten there in time. The paramedics had stabilized her. But the baby didn't survive. The stress, the blood loss, the trauma, Sarah miscarried in the hospital that night. At 15 weeks pregnant, she lost the baby we'd fought so hard to keep. I wasn't there when it happened. I was at home with Emma, trying to explain why Mommy was in the hospital again, why there were police at our house, why everything was falling apart. Marcus called me at midnight with the news. The baby's gone, Dan. I'm so sorry. I couldn't speak. Couldn't process it. Sarah's sedated, he continued. They're moving her to the psychiatric unit. Dr. Reeves is there. They're going to keep her for evaluation. Could be days, could be weeks. Can I see her? Not tonight. She's not coherent. Tomorrow, maybe. I hung up and sat in my dark living room, trying to understand how we'd gotten here. 3 months ago, I'd promised to support Sarah through the pregnancy, to not let fear control me, to be the husband she deserved. And now she'd tried to kill herself and lost our baby. Where had I gone wrong? The next morning, I took Emma to my sister's house. I couldn't have her around for this conversation. Then I drove to Providence Hospital and went to the psychiatric unit. Sarah was in a private room, staring out the window. She looked small, fragile, destroyed. Sarah. She turned. Her eyes were red, swollen. You shouldn't be here. I'm your husband. Where else would I be? You should be with Emma, protecting her from me. Sarah. I tried to kill myself, Dan. I tried to kill our baby. I'm exactly what you were afraid of. I'm dangerous. You were sick. You had a psychotic episode. That's just an excuse. I made a choice. I picked up that knife and I cut my wrists because the voices told me to. And I did it. I'm no different from my mother. I sat down beside her bed. What were the voices saying? They said the baby would inherit my illness. They said I was selfish for keeping it. They said Emma would be traumatized watching me deteriorate. They said everyone would be better off if I was dead. And you believed them. In that moment, yes. They sounded so real. So rational. Like they were telling me the truth everyone was too polite to say. But they weren't real. How do I know? How do I know any of this is real? How do I know you're really here and not just another hallucination? She reached out and touched my face. You feel real. But so do the voices. So does everything. I can't tell anymore. My heart broke for her. Dr. Reeves said they're changing my medication again, Sarah continued. Back to the stronger stuff. Now that there's no baby to worry about. The bitterness in her voice was palpable. I'm so sorry about the baby. Are you? Because part of me thinks you're relieved. One less thing to worry about. One less risk. That's not true, isn't it? Be honest, Dan. When you heard I'd miscarried, wasn't there a tiny part of you that thought, at least we don't have to deal with that anymore? I wanted to deny it, but I couldn't, because she was right. There had been a moment, just a flash of relief. And I hated myself for it. I'm sorry, I whispered. So am I. Sorry I couldn't be the wife you needed. Sorry I couldn't be stable enough to carry a baby. Sorry I'm exactly the kind of crazy you were afraid of. You're not crazy. Yes, I am. That's literally what schizophrenia is. I'm crazy. My brain doesn't work right. And everyone keeps trying to pretend otherwise, but we all know the truth. Sarah, you're sick. That's different from crazy. Is it? Because from where I'm sitting, they look pretty similar. We sat in silence for a while. Then Sarah said, I think you should take Emma and leave. File for divorce. Get full custody. I'll sign whatever you want. What? No. Yes. Dan, I tried to kill myself. I lost our baby. I'm in a psychiatric hospital. Again. This is who I am. This is who I'm always going to be. You and Emma deserve better. I'm not leaving you. You should. Well, I'm not. Why not? Why would you stay with someone like me? Because I love you. Because you're my wife. Because mental illness doesn't change that. But it does. It changes everything. I'm not the woman you married. That woman is gone. I'm what's left. You're still Sarah. Still the woman I fell in love with. Still Emma's mother. Still my partner. She shook her head. I'm a burden. An obligation. A problem you're too good a person to walk away from. That's the depression talking. No, it's reality talking. And reality says I'm going to be in and out of hospitals for the rest of my life. Reality says Emma's going to grow up with a mentally ill mother. Reality says you're going to spend your life managing my illness instead of living your own life. Then that's what I'll do. Why? Out of guilt? Obligation? Pity? Out of love? She started crying. I don't want you to love me out of obligation. I want you to love me because you actually want to be with me. But I don't think you do anymore. I think you're staying because you think it's the right thing to do. That's not true. Prove it. How? Tell me the truth. All of it. Do you still want to be married to me? Not should you. Not is it the right thing to do. Do you actually want to be with me? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Did I want to be married to Sarah? The Sarah who had psychotic breaks? Who heard voices? Who tried to kill herself? Or did I just feel obligated to stay? I don't know, I admitted. She nodded, like she'd expected that answer. At least you're being honest. I love you. I know I love you. But I'm tired. I'm so tired of being scared. Of managing crises. Of never knowing if today's going to be a good day, or a day where everything falls apart. Then leave. I'm giving you permission. Leave and take Emma and be happy. I don't want to leave. But you don't want to stay either. You're stuck. And I'm the reason you're stuck. She was right. I felt trapped between obligation and exhaustion, love and fear. I think we both need time, I said finally. Time to heal. Time to figure out what we really want. You mean divorce? I mean separation. Real separation. Not you staying with Marcus for a week. Actual space. Months maybe. Time for you to get stable. Time for me to figure out if I'm staying because I want to or because I think I should. And Emma? Emma spends time with both of us. Supervised at first, then we reassess. You still don't trust me with her. I don't trust your illness with her. There's a difference. Not to me. Dr. Reeves came in then, ending our conversation. She wanted to discuss Sarah's treatment plan. I left them alone and went home to an empty house. That night I made a decision. I called a real estate agent. Put the house on the market. Found a 2-bedroom apartment for Emma and me. Sarah would stay in treatment, then move in with Marcus when she was released. We'd separate officially. Not divorce, not yet. But separate. Give ourselves space to heal. To figure out who we were apart from crisis management. 3 weeks later, Sarah was released from the hospital on new medication. She moved in with Marcus. Emma and I moved into our new apartment. And we started the long, painful process of rebuilding our lives separately. The first few months were hard. Emma didn't understand why Mommy wasn't living with us. Why she only saw her twice a week, supervised by Uncle Marcus. Is Mommy ever coming home? She asked one night at bedtime. I don't know, baby. Mommy's still getting better. Did I make her sick? No. You didn't make her sick. Sometimes people's brains don't work right, and it's nobody's fault. Do you still love Mommy? Did I? Yes, I said. I still love her. And I did. But love wasn't enough. Over the next 6 months, Sarah got better. The new medication was working. She was stable, functional. She got a part-time job. Started living independently again. She spent more time with Emma. Unsupervised visits. Overnight stays. And nothing bad happened. No episodes. No crises. Just a mom spending time with her daughter. I should have felt relief. But instead, I felt guilt. Guilt for not believing in her. Guilt for all the times I'd seen her as a threat. Guilt for the cameras, the surveillance, the fear. 1 year after Sarah's suicide attempt, we met for coffee. How are you? I asked. Good. Really good, actually. The new meds are working. I've been stable for 8 months now. That's great. How's Emma? She's good. Asks about you constantly. Does she understand what happened? As much as a 5-year-old can understand. She knows mommy has an illness that makes her brain work differently sometimes. Does she know I tried to kill myself? No. That's something we can tell her when she's older. If you want to. We sat in silence for a moment. I've been thinking about us, Sarah said. About what happened. Why it happened. Me too. And I think we were both right and both wrong. You were wrong to spy on me. To treat me like a threat. But I was also wrong to hide my illness for so long. To shut you out. We both made mistakes. Yeah. The question is, can we move past them? I don't know. Can we? I think I can. I've forgiven you for the cameras. For the fear. I understand why you were scared. Why you didn't trust me. It hurt, but I understand. Have you forgiven yourself? She thought about that. I'm trying. Dr. Reeves says self-forgiveness is a process. But I'm not there yet. Me neither. So where does that leave us? I don't know. I still love you. But I don't know if I can go back to how things were. Always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Always watching for signs of an episode. I understand. And honestly, I don't know if I can trust you not to see me as my illness. To see Sarah, not schizophrenia. So maybe this is it. Maybe we're better apart. Maybe. But neither of us moved to leave. I miss you, I admitted. I miss us. The way we were before all of this. We can't go back to before. Too much has happened. But maybe we can go forward. Different, but forward. How? I don't know. Slowly. Carefully. Maybe we start by being friends. Co-parents. And if something more develops, we let it. No pressure. No pressure. She smiled. I'd like that. Over the next 6 months, we did exactly that. We co-parented Emma. Had dinners together. Talked about our days. Slowly rebuilt trust. And one day, I realized I wasn't afraid anymore. I looked at Sarah and saw my wife. Not her illness. Not a threat. Just Sarah. The woman I'd fallen in love with. Who'd been through hell and survived. Who was brave enough to keep fighting even when everything fell apart. I want to try again. I told her one night after Emma was asleep. Try what? Us. Marriage. Family. I want you to move back in. Dan. I know it's scary. I know there's no guarantee. You might have another episode. You might get sick again. But Sarah, I don't want to live my life waiting for the worst-case scenario. I want to live it with you. Are you sure? Yes. No more cameras. No more surveillance. Just trust. Can we do that? She thought about it. I don't know. But I want to try. 2 months later, Sarah moved back in. It wasn't perfect. There were hard days. Days when Sarah's symptoms flared. Days when I felt the old fear creeping back. But we talked about it. We worked through it. Together. Emma was thrilled to have her family back together. And slowly, painfully, we healed. 3 years later, we're still together. Still married. Still fighting. Sarah's been stable for 2 years. She takes her medication religiously. Sees Dr. Reeves monthly. Has a support system in place. Emma's 7 now. She knows her mom has an illness. She knows some days are harder than others. But she also knows her mom loves her fiercely. And me? I'm still in therapy with Dr. Chun. Still working on managing my fear. Still learning to see Sarah as my partner, not her illness. It's not easy. Some days are really hard. But we're making it work. Because love isn't about perfection. It's about showing up. Even when it's scary. Even when it's hard. It's about choosing each other every single day. And that's what we do. We choose each other. So that's my story. The story of how a nanny cam revealed my wife's schizophrenia. How fear almost destroyed our marriage. How I learned that mental illness doesn't make someone dangerous, but treating them like they are can destroy them. If you're going through something similar, if you love someone with mental illness, here's what I learned. Trust is everything. Without it, you don't have a relationship. You have surveillance. Fear is natural, but it can't control you. If you let it, it'll destroy everything you love. Mental illness is part of your partner, but it's not all of them. You have to learn to see the person beyond the diagnosis. And most importantly, you can't do this alone. Get therapy. Build a support system. Ask for help. Because love might not be enough on its own. But love plus support, plus treatment, plus commitment, that can move mountains. Sarah and I made it through. Barely. But we did. And if we can do it, maybe you can too. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. If this story resonated with you, if you or someone you love is dealing with mental illness, if you've ever felt that fear of losing someone you love to their own mind, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to Story Matrix Hub. Leave a comment below. Have you dealt with mental illness in your family? How did you handle it? What would you have done in my situation? Remember, mental illness is not a choice, but how we respond to it is. Choose compassion. Choose understanding. Choose to see the person, not just the illness. And if you're struggling, whether with mental illness yourself or loving someone who is, please reach out for help. You don't have to do this alone. Until next time, this is Story Matrix Hub, reminding you that love is complicated, mental illness is real, and healing is possible, even when it seems impossible. Stay strong, stay compassionate, and never give up on the people you love.